Aloha, friends and family. I was just watching a Levette video. And actually, I was, thinking about unsubscribing because I feel like energies with different people are kind of clashing. And I don't want to cause anybody any uh, extra turmoil. But, as I was listening to her and stuff, and she was talking about how she became awakened at a young age by wanting out, and that she was kind of starving herself. And that reminded me of my similar experience. I was a little bit older, and I wanted out. I knew that I was in the wrong place, or at least I felt strongly that I was in the wrong place, wrong earth, wrong time. I knew this place was enslaved. Although I couldn't articulate it at that time, I knew people were living primarily in illusion, what I would now call Maya. And I just felt completely out of place. Even in the body, I felt like, you know, uh, this body is like an uncomfortable suit. So I didn't want to be here. I didn't want to stay here. And I took a bunch of pills, medications, not my medications, but someone else's out of a medicine cabinet. And I remember putting the pile of pills in my hand. I was sitting on the bed. I had a Budweiser beer that I had opened. I'm not a drinker, really never have been much of a drinker. But I just remember sitting there with the pile of pills, all these different colored pills in my hand, and this beer, thinking, I'm getting out of here. I'm getting out of here. And then I don't remember really swallowing all the pills or drinking half the beer. I just remember the next thing I remember was all the pills were gone and half the beer was gone. And I was thinking, that's it. I did it. I did it. And I reckon it was sort of scary and exciting because, you don't know what's going to happen next. But you know that you've already crossed that line. And so I spent the next 3 days in in and out of consciousness and extremely sick. And I had one friend that came during that time and kind of checked on me and, I guess was inquiring, is my friend about to die? But that was it. I lived on my own at that time. I was a teenager. I left home early. And I had just finished a graveyard shift as a cashier at Mobile gas station. I had walked about 2 miles home, or to where I was renting a room from a high school friend of mine that at that time wasn't too much of a friend, and We were kind of starting to part ways, and I was about ready to part ways with everything and everybody. And so anyway, I got through it, got through that, and came back to the world that I had wanted to leave. I was back. I was here, and continued, to know things that, back in the 80s and 90s, the stuff we talk about now would have really sounded conspiratorial and all that. But, some people here can see things before others can. And our task, I suppose, is to speak about such things and try to, I don't know, give warning or give counsel. But prior to awakening, you can't really give too much counsel, because you don't know what the answer is. All you know is that everything's effed. And you can point out the obvious reasons that everything's effed, but to get to the underlying issues, which have to do with us ourselves personally, because if everything is a reflection of us, and our reality is co-created through us, then the answers really do lie within, and the way out is the way in, or the way in is the way out. So I didn't unsubscribe. I think the light workers have, maybe we're too similar, not meaning me and her specifically, but just all light workers, maybe we're so similar that maybe we would clash a little bit. But I think we can rise above that and realize we're all, as light workers, we have the same mission, to provoke awakening and to hopefully help people walk out of the illusions. I'm sure there's a lot of people out there that are feeling completely lost, feeling exactly like me and Lavette felt as youth, where you just want out. You just don't want to be here. You don't want to face another day in this place. And everybody, is talking the same thing, that it's going to get worse. It's going to get worse. And it probably is, for certain people, going to get worse. It doesn't mean, because everything's seemingly getting worse, doesn't mean it has to get worse for you. Although it could. And it's hard to connect with people that have decided that they do want out, because they feel deeply and strongly about the way that they feel in their position. You know, I did for many years, even after that suicide attempt. I still contemplated it a lot and thought about it a lot and still felt, the same way, that I want out of here. I don't want to be here. I don't want to hear anything. I don't want to see anything. I just want to be left alone. I want to live in my world. and but see, I didn't know how to co-create a world at that time. So my world would have been just as effed as everybody else's. So we got to learn how to construct a world, a world that you want to live in, a world that you're happy in, a world that is much different than this world, this collective world. So I think a lot of people are also coming to the realization that they are in a collective world, and it's mainly been designed by other people because we have all these external things that kind of pull us into that world. The TV was a huge mind manipulator that pulled us into the collective matrix world. So a lot of people are coming to realize, I don't want to live in this world. But don't think that that means suicide. Don't think that the only way out of the matrix world is suicide. You can walk right out of that world. Because our minds are sustaining that world. If we are not conscious, if we're not aware that that's what it's doing, that's what we're doing. But once you become aware that that's what you're doing, then you can just walk right out of that world. You can refuse to participate. You can refuse to give it your energy. You can refuse to be made afraid by it. And like I said on another video, I think the challenge becomes, can we maintain our peace and harmony and still observe that world and keep abreast of that world? And maybe that's wrong. Maybe for me, maybe that's wrong of me to think that I should even keep abreast of that world. But see, that world now has the power to affect us individually. So I don't know that ignoring that world is the right thing either. But how much of that world should we consume? And what effect is it having on us? And I feel for everybody, anybody that is just utterly lost in it. I totally get it. I know how you could feel depressed about it. I know how you could feel completely defeated by it. I know how you can feel completely powerless to change it, to do anything. Because you're looking at it through the eyes of your avatar and you're thinking about what you can do about it through the might of your avatar, but that's not the way to do it. That's not the way to do it. The way to do it is mentally. The way to do it is consciously. And at first, that doesn't seem right. Like, how are you going to change the physical world just by your thoughts? But you can. You can change the world, the physical world, just with your thoughts. Or, as we learned on a previous video, you can tune in to a different world. There's not just one world. So you can tune in to a higher version of the world and experience that world. Which is going to take, reprogramming, learning how to do it, learning how to emanate that which is within you into the external with power. And what is the power? What is that power? That power is knowing. We could say that power is faith. We could say that power is belief, but I don't like to use that word. Lie is right in the middle of that word. Another very distorted term in this realm. So there's, all kinds of strange things happening with people. I've got a strange thing happening. Maybe you can hear me scratching at my head here. But I've got a bunch of small, I would say it like this. I feel like I'm growing a boar's mane out of the top of my damn head. Because mainly in the middle of my head, middle of my scalp, I have all these small, stiff hairs that seemingly have just suddenly started growing out of my head. And it drives me a little bit nuts, and if I'm not careful, I can become compulsive about it and really scratch at it and mess with it and rub it and feel it. And the fact that I can't see it kind of drives me nuts too. And I have no idea, what to make of that. And so I was scratching at it the other night, and I scratched, a piece, if you will, a little piece off. And so I looked at it under, I don't have a microscope, but I have a magnifying glass, and it's got different settings so that you can look closer. And so I looked through the strongest setting I had, and I was able to see that there was a hair coming out of the piece. But then I also noticed there's this little red fiber that looks like a damn wire. And it came out of the skin just like a hair would, and then it looped back around and went back in to the skin. So I don't know. I don't know if it is anything, if it means anything, if it's, I have no idea what to make of something like that. It's just very strange and weird. And that, along with the fact that I have all these short stiff hairs, just, I guess, spontaneously growing out of my scalp now, is just strange. It's just strange. Maybe that's totally normal. I don't know. I don't know. Let me know if you have any anomalies happening with you. But it's just a strange time, you know. And we're all moving. I think we all know that we're moving towards something, meaning not just in general, like, of course, we all, everybody is always moving towards something, but I'm talking about we're all moving towards something specific. And people are, thinking that it's different things. Maybe it's all of them, maybe it's none of them, maybe it's one of them, maybe it just depends on what timeline you end up on or what world you're tuned into. But so for some, maybe it means civil war. For some, maybe it means their avatars end. For some, maybe it means the event, and that's where I'm at. That's the timeline I'm on, is we're moving towards the event. Now, when I say we're moving towards the event, I'm not, we can't really group all humans in to anything anymore, because now we understand that everybody is creating their own world. Everybody's co-creating their own world. Everybody, has choices about which timelines they want to get on, even though most people don't know that at all. They don't understand that that's what they're doing. But those of us that are on the timeline for the event, that's what I believe. That's the timeline I believe I'm on. And so that's something positive. That's not civil war. That's not Armageddon for us. That's not anything negative. That's something great. That's something great. And we potentially have the opportunity to walk out of this old world, this world that we really never wanted to be in anyway. I maintain my position that I've come back here by choice. I did not know that at first. I did not remember that at first, and that's why I felt so god awfully out of place here. Felt like I was just totally in the wrong time in the wrong place, which, would make you want to leave, would make you probably suicidal, until you remember, and you would never remember if you just allowed the feelings and the emotions to carry you away into escapism. I could have got into drugs and alcohol. I could have just tried to numb a lot of emotional and mental pain, and just tried to, and just been filled with frustration and resentment, that I'm even here. Why am I even here? Why am I? And it's sort of, why am I back here? Like, I feel like I already did this. I feel like I already went through this. Like, why in the hell would I be back here? But now I understand, I chose to come back here. I volunteered, if you will, to come back here. And many of you did too, especially if you're a light worker, because we were the front line people here to begin talking and speaking through the higher consciousness to the soul of humans, bypassing their intellect, because the intellect of humans in this world is completely dualistic. And so they will get in a mode where everything is an argument and there's no way to win. Like, no matter which way you look at it, the human intellect can argue its way around it to end up where? Exactly where they are, nowhere. So they can argue themselves into a circle of nowhere. But if you're able to speak the heart language, the language of love, you can bypass the dualistic human mind and speak straight into the core, straight to the core of people. And this is the planting of seed in fertile ground. And even if they at that time aren't able to get past their own mental blocks, the seed is planted. And as the light and the frequency and the energy increases here, it's going to beckon those seeds to grow, to sprout and grow. And then as those spiritual plants begin to grow, then these humans are going to be confronted with that within themselves. And that will be one of the things that beckons them within themselves. Like, why are you feeling this way? Or why did that trigger your feeling to feel this way? Or and you want to know, why? There's so many whys coming up. See, and if the light workers have planted the seeds, then all these people are going to be able to go within themselves and discover the why by, let us say, eating the fruit off of those spiritual plants or trees that were planted back when they had no knowledge that that's what was being done. Back when they were still contrary. Back when they were still in opposition. Back when they were still repeating a phrase that they heard that makes it easy to write it all off, which is conspiracy theory. Conspiracy theory right now means something very different to people than it did 10 years ago. And why is that? Because they're finally catching up. It took time for those seeds to sprout and grow, and now they're rooted. Now they're rooted in. And so it's not so easy to get rid of a tree that's well rooted. So continue to do the inner work. Continue to purge whatever you need to purge. Remember that there's right left, and center. And the game in the external right now is right or left, right or left. But there's not too much center. I mean, it's there. It's there. The center's there. But nobody's, I shouldn't say nobody. Certainly not, probably nobody in the mainstream, what we'd consider the mainstream. Certainly, nobody in the matrix is guiding, pointing, or helping people to the center because they need you to be on the right or left. Now, that's in general. I think there's something new. There's a new dynamic here, and I think a lot of spiritual people are missing it. And that's this thing of polarization. The polarization of light and dark. I suppose we could say that that's right or left too, but it's really not, because again, it's something different, but it parallels quite closely. So I would advise, don't go right or left. Don't polarize right or left. But when it comes to light and dark, do polarize to the light or the dark. I mean, that, whatever you want. But I'm just saying, I think we are at a new point, at a new time, at a special place where we can and should even polarize light or dark. It's almost that thing of Jesus saying, if you're lukewarm, I'll spit you out. So when it comes to the light or the dark, don't be lukewarm, be completely light. Or if you want, be completely dark, but go all in. Go all in. But by going all in with light or dark, don't confuse that to mean right or left, because then you're out of center. So polarize fully to the light in the center of yourself, in the center of your being. And this will give you the clarity, the fortitude, the strength, the endurance, the knowing, the comfort,